episode of Progress, Potential, and Possibilities, discussions with fascinating people designing a better tomorrow for all of us. I'm your host, Ira Pastor.
Well, welcome everybody again to another episode of our show with another truly fascinating guest who is creating a better tomorrow for everyone. We are continuing on our virtual road trip around the world, and we are headed towards Algeria today. And we are honored to be joined by Dr. Halima Benbouza, who is a scientist in the field of agronomic sciences and biologic engineering. Dr. Benbouza received her doctorate in 2004 from the University Agro BioTech Gembloux in Belgium, studying plant breeding and genetics. She was then offered a postdoctoral position to work with the Agricultural Research Services in the United States Department of Agriculture in Mississippi. Subsequently, Dr. Benbouza was funded by Dow Agro Science to study Fusarium, wilt resistance in cotton. In 2009, she was awarded the Special Prize Eric Daugimont and Dominique Van der Rest by the University Agro BioTech. Dr. Benbouza is currently a professor at Batna University, where she teaches graduate and postgraduate students in the Veterinary Institute of Medicine and Agronomy. She also supervises master's and PhD students in that role. From 2010 to 2016, Dr. Benbouza served as the inaugural director of the Biotechnology Research Center located in Constantine, Algeria. She was appointed by the Ministry of Higher Education and Scientific Research. In 2011, she was appointed by the Algerian government as president of the Intersectoral Commission of Health and Life Sciences. She is also a member of the Algerian National Council for Research Evaluation and past member of the Sectorial Permanent Board of Ministry of Higher Education and Scientific Research. In 2013, she was appointed by the Prime Minister as president of the Steering Committee of Algeria's Biotech Pharma Project. In 2014, she was honored by the U.S. Embassy in Algiers as one of the Women in Science Hall of Fame for her research achievements and her outstanding contribution to promote research activities and advancement of the country. And in 2016, she was honored by the Algerian Minister of Communications for the Culture of Merit Award. In that same year, she was chosen as one of the 6 best African women scientists by the Next Einstein Forum, which is a Pan-African education organization, due to her broad contributions in promoting culture, responsible science, and research integrity in Algeria. She was also appointed as representative of Algeria to UNESCO Intergovernmental Commission on Bioethics. She served on the Committee for Regional Workshops in Science and Technology Issues for Biologic Weapons Convention, convened by the U.S. National Academy of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine. That same year, she was distinguished by the World Forum of Science in Jordan. She continues to serve as a member of the Executive Committee, Pan-African Congress of Ethics and Bioethics. She's a member of the External Ethics Advisory Committee of the Biotechnology Research Center. And in 2020, she was selected to be a member of the National Commission of Ethics and Deontology, the Ministry of Higher Education and National Research. She contributed as an expert in the foresight exercise for dual use concern under the health foresight function within the Research for Health Department of the World Health Organization, and continues to consult for a variety of international organizations on biosafety and biosecurity education, as well as a research reviewer on various scientific panels. All that being said, Dr. Benbouza, thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to come join us today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Ira.
Same to you. Same to you. Dr. Benbouza, we typically start things off by handing our guest the floor for a little bit. If you could take a few minutes just to introduce yourself, if you could talk a little bit about where you grew up in Algeria, a little bit of your development of interest in science, in biotechnology, ag biotechnology, plant engineering, and a little bit of your path to date, although I read a lot of it. That'd be a great way to start things off.
Okay, so I am from a region, Batna region. So I have grown up the first year there, but because of the work of my father, we had to travel in many cities in Algeria. So this gave me strong skills to tolerate the cultural diversity of the Algerian population in Algeria. So I have been studied in at the high school in Batna city and in Ouargla in the desert. So 2 contrasted cities, one in the deep south, one in the east, north of Algeria. And after that, I have always been fascinated by nature and genetics. And I always have this question, how this all living beings are living in the same ecosystem and how they could evolve together. And this is why I wanted to study agronomy. To be honest, this was not my first choice. I wanted to be a doctor because of my parents, to be proud, as I am the oldest one. So I am the first, one of the first their kids. We are a big family, but I didn't have a chance. I am thankful to God that I am not a doctor, because I don't think that I have the capacity to see people suffering and I can do nothing sometimes. So I am happy now to have studied agronomic science and studied this focus on plants, and have done some research to help people and to achieve food security. So for all of those, this is an important thing for countries, mainly in Africa and other poor countries. That was my goal and my objective when I moved for my PhD to Belgium, and then for my postdoc to US. And I was fortunate to meet people that are working on the same research to use cotton seeds for human and animal food. This is briefly why I have chosen these topics and what I have done. I summarize it. If you need more details, I can give them with pleasure. Okay.
That was wonderful, and I'm sure your parents were very proud of you, even though you're not a medical doctor now. So.
yeah. You know, I would add something. You know, region I come from, for women to travel young without being married to abroad. In the 90s, Algeria wasn't, the situation in Algeria, there were terrorism. So it wasn't easy for women, young women with 23 years old to move and to go outside to study without being married. Here we have this condition of the society and this cultural things that you have to be married before going to study abroad. But I had the chance to have my parents that encouraged me and say, yeah, you can go and study and do whatever you want to do. And I am glad for that. I have always fighted to do my studies and fight for advancing science everywhere where I am.
Outstanding. I'd like to start off with the National Biotechnology Research Center, which you were instrumental in starting and had a major leadership role in. You had been involved, obviously, you're involved in plant biotechnology, which is of interest, but at the same time, one of your main concerns was control of genetic modified plants that has to be standardized and properly done and not, just randomly. Talk a little bit about, if you would, sort of the history of your involvement in the National Biotechnology Research Center, your leadership in it, and just a little bit also about sort of where it sits within the, I'll call the biotech ecosystem of Algeria today and its role.
Okay, so when I come back to after my postdoc, so I have to take an important decision to stay like other Algerians in Europe or in US and live there, or to come back to my country. So I have, this is what was one of the second important decision in my life. I said, okay, my goal was to study, but my final objective was to come back to my country and help the country to move forward and help other young scientists to do something. So if I stayed in Europe or US, so I can evolve better than I am now in science. I mean, in research production and publishing a lot of scientific paper, etc. But there are a lot of scientists like me. So they, between brackets, they don't need me, but my country need me, and I had to come. So I come back in 2008 and choose my city where my parents live, Batna University. And I teach there 2 years, 2008 and 2009. But when it comes to do some research on in the lab, that was hard. That was the hard part. And I needed more means. So I was claiming always means to do research. And I had this opportunity that I have, the Minister of Higher Education proposed me to run the first Biotechnology Research Center. It's a national one. And to set up this research center, so I had to move another city, which is Constantine. It's in the eastern part of Algeria. So when I came first to this building, so I had only an empty building. Nobody was there. So I was the first one who came and had this mission to set up this newly funded center. Mm-hmm. So I have to hire researcher, technical staff, administration, to set up the research program, the administrative board, to buy equipment. Everything has to be done, but I focused my work on building human capacities, because I think that you can run any research center if you don't invest in people, in scientists who can do research after. That wasn't an easy task, and it took me 5 years to set up this research center. So I had to initiate many international collaboration. Why? Because biotechnology in Algeria was at its embryonic stage. So there is no lot of research on biotech in Algeria. So this research center in Constantine was the first one. So I had the support from national academies of science and engineering and medicine of US. I had to work safely in the labs. I had the support of Sandia National Laboratories, who we signed an MAU. So this was done for the US Embassy in Algiers. So we have done a lot of training for people, researcher and the staff of the CRBT, which is the acronym, the abbreviation of National Biotech Center, and for other people working at other laboratories at the universities, because biosafety, biosecurity was, nobody was aware about this. So I had to initiate such program because it's important for biotech research. Also bioethic, I had to train people and raise awareness among the scientists inside the center, but also with other scientists in other universities, around 36 universities. So it's we have a lot of more than 1 million students, and are all young people. So they are claiming for research and science and everything. So not to train all of them, but to train some of them and trainers, and that they will do after the work. Easy part to do it, but I have to confess that I had the support of the ministry by giving a lot of means and budget. And during the COVID, the SARS-CoV pandemic, those center played a big role to do diagnosis for the eastern part in their labs, because there were bacteriology lab there with all what's needed to do the diagnosis with the trained people, and that was important to play a greatest role here in the eastern part of Algeria to do the diagnosis for the SARS-CoV-2. This is briefly what I have done, but I'm talking about something easy, but it wasn't easy. You know why? Because I have never done administration. I was a researcher, a scientist doing genetics and plant breeding and things of science. And then I was asked to do something of like management, administration, running a budget, estimation, and Adding to this, I had many other functions at high-level commissions. So like working with pharma on to set up a pole of pharmaceutical biotechnology hub in Algeria. This wasn't my field. That I had to read a lot and to acquire knowledge, to speak with those people from pharma and to identify what Algeria should have and what are the needs to have a win-win project with the pharma. That wasn't easy, but yeah, I'm glad to have done. That was a great experience for me.
Yeah, I mean, listening to the story, it sounds very much like a startup company in a way where, you know, you might have one skill, but you have to do everything because you can't hire that many people in the first day. But it's a great story, and I take my hat off to you for doing all of those functions. I know that well from. You know, I had the opportunity to look at some of your papers, and you know, one of the ones that was quite interesting to me, just because, you know, obviously see the very obvious connection to plant engineering, agronomy, and so forth, was one that you wrote a couple of years ago. It was on the preservation of Juniper species, which is rare and endangered, I think in the sort of the northern part of Algeria, you using various in vitro regeneration technologies to bring this species back to prominence. Talk a little bit about this project, if you would.
Okay. So in fact, I have many running projects with my PhD students. So having this function, it's not easy, but I decided to keep I have to have some oxygen, and my research it's an oxygen for me, because administration will kill you.
Sure.
It will kill your skills, the scientific side. So I always decided to have my PhD student and give them a small research project and follow them and assist them. One of them, thank you to remember me, is the Juniper species. This Juniper species is only located in Batna region. It is an endemic species, but the seeds don't germinate. So the species is endangered, and there is no way to regenerate this species. So I thought maybe I can use in vitro culture for its regeneration. And I have worked with my PhD student at CRBT, because in the region there were no lab of cultural in vitro culture. So I have to set up this lab and then to work in this lab. So we have succeeded to regenerate this species. It took us 3 years of hard work because it wasn't easy. We had to find the right condition, the right the culture matrix, if you want, and to find the good ingredients for its regeneration. We have succeeded, and now even the PhD student have finished. She is a doctor now, and she is teaching at Batna University. But we have continued to work on this research project, and now the plant, as it's forestry plant, so we have this step of having this plant, in vitro plant, at the greenhouse. And after 2 years, we are planning to move it on the field and see if, for the acclimatization, if this in vitro plant could survive in the real condition outside.
Excellent.
So this is one of the research projects. If you allow me, I would like to talk also about a project that I have initiated on health.
Please.
So we have here a lot of disease. Main of them is genetic rare disease. So there are some regions in Algeria that have these diseases, and we have cancer. I will give an example of breast cancer. The thing what is strange with breast cancer that it's attack young ladies. It's not like the breast cancer like in Europe or in US. Okay. So and we decided to move and to realize a project on sequencing Algerian genome population. So we have worked with the diaspora, so Algerian abroad, and we have decided to take samples from the 48 cities in Algeria. And the main goal of this project was for diagnosis and prevention. So when we have genes that are not like genes, because as you know, that the human genome sequencing that have been done in 2005 have only take population from Europe and US and okay. North Africa and Africa. There were no population samples from there. And we know that genetics play a big role in disease and how to fight against this disease, mainly genetics one. And we decided to do this project. I have submitted the project to the authorities since 3 years. They said yes, but for some reason the project was stopped, and it is like lost, because we would like to know what are the genes that are not functional for those genetic diseases or for breast cancer, to be able to give the right treatment to those patients and to give them a personalized medicine. And also with this project, the aim was to train more people to work on genomics and proteomics, and then to move forward for other research projects in life sciences. So that was one of the most important projects for the CRBT.
Excellent.
So also we had, I have initiated many projects with the teams at the CRBT on studying endemic plants in Algeria to seek and check for the biomolecules, for their function. And I know that 2 of the research projects are now at the in vitro tests to test those biomolecules, and it's not already published, but the parts which will be the in vivo research part, I think that should be done outside, because then we need an animal facility that is safe to do such research.
Yeah,
I can give you more other research projects that have been done or that are undergoing, but most of them are seeking the genetic properties of local plants and trying to fight pathogens and identify varieties or cultivars that are resistant to disease. We have also done this to the same to the animals for zoonosis or disease with viruses, just to identify which viruses, what they can do. And this is not easy, but you know, as we don't have a P3 lab, some quarantine diseases we don't have the right to do them right now. So most of them we send scientists to our collaborator in Europe, and they do studies there. I can give you an example for the resistance of the antibiotics.
Please.
So what they do, so they identify, for example, for bacteria, TB, or for TB or other, I know the name in French, 48 carbaminas. I don't know the name in English because it's not my field of expertise. And we sent PhD students to the lab of in France, and they do sequencing and they do other tests. And though they have found a lot of bacteria that is resistant to most of the antibiotics found on the market. And the latest one, I had this news last week that one of the PhD students found a bacteria which is resistant to all. This is the first time they found this, which is resistant to all antibiotics that are specific to any other treatments. Mm. So they will proceed to the sequencing of this bacteria, so they will not talk about their results before publishing, as you know. Sure. How things. But there are a lot of things that are going on, and I am glad and happy to each time there is research, people come and ask for orientation, for advice, how to do things. And I participate in many, I am participating in many research projects, but I have to confess also that it's not hard. So we are in Algeria. It's not easy for life science research to respect your schedule and to do all the tasks that you have planned in the beginning for your project, because we have some issues, constraints to do this research, and not easy. Mm-hmm. So this is why, for example, for Algeria, for other fields like basic research, yeah, it's easy to do it. Chemistry, physics, fundamental science. People are working and publishing, there is no issue with that. But people who are working in life sciences and medical research, it's not easy. Really, it's not easy. So we have to fight every day. So you are not in Europe or in the US when you ask or you request for an enzyme or reagent or chemical, you have it quickly. This is not easy in Algeria to do it for now. We have the budget, but we don't have this these companies, firms that supply these suppliers for this kind of between brackets. So
understood. But you're still getting a tremendous amount done, which is an extremely impressive thing, just by the scope of these projects. I was wanting to ask. I was doing some reading, and I knew Algeria was very big. I didn't realize it was the 10th largest country in the world in terms of land mass, and sort of looking at the very fertile northern part, you obviously have a very large southern component that touches on the semi-arid Sahara Desert. I had the opportunity a couple months ago to talk to Dr. Tangam at the African Union, who's working on this Great Green Wall project in the Sahara. And I just was thinking about you, and I know from the brief time that I spent in ag biotech myself that drought tolerance was a very hot topic. Are you doing anything based on drought tolerance in your research, being where you are?
In fact, yeah, I am not involved personally in drought resistance. Okay. But there are other teams that are involved in such research in collaboration with other teams in mainly in Europe. But as you know, for the green wall, Algeria is planting a lot of trees, and there is a huge program to do this. They started, I think, 2 months ago. To re-implant trees for this green wall, but for research for drought resistance and salt resistance, this is I know that this is an important topic because of the climate change, and this was also a topic. I don't know if you are aware about PRIMA, which is a European foundation which funds research projects for the countries around the Mediterranean Sea, including Algeria. So Algeria is a part of this member of this foundation, and we had this year for this call. This is the third call for this foundation. As I am a member of the scientific panel to select research projects, so I wasn't able to submit research projects. I know that there is 4 research projects with Algerian, with other European partners, and Algeria and Tunisia, that are for now working on seeking for genes for drought resistance. But for the moment, there is no, they just started, but for the previous research, I am not aware, based on what is published on papers, that they found something that genes that are, that show relation with drought resistance.
Okay, appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
One other project I have to ask, I know offline we talked that this wasn't your core project, but I'd still love you if you talked a couple minutes about it, because 3 of my favorite foods in the world, dates, figs, and olives, major economic crops in Algeria. If I come to Algeria, that's all I need to eat and I'll be happy. But you've been involved in work on genetic assessments and various phenotypic studies. Also, there's work going on in the secondary metabolites, as you were talking about. Could you just say a few words about these economically very important crops, not just because I like them very much, but because it's an interesting story.
Yeah, it's an interesting story, and that are important. They are staple food for the people who are living in the south, and many research studies have shown that dates contains fiber, minerals, and proteins that are important to the health. With 7 dates, 7 ones, when you eat this in the morning, this is a study who said, a scientific study, is not, I am not saying this, the studies say this, that 7 dates during the day can help you to resist.
Nice.
And to eat nothing else. You have what you need of sugar and the protein and fiber to support until the end of the day. So Algeria is a rich country. They have a lot of diversity of date palm. But the problem is what we have seen in Biskra, which is the largest city where the production of date palm, which is the name of the cultivar Deglet Nor, which is the commercial cultivar which is exported to the other countries, are the agriculture, the people who are producing date palm are doing monoculture, and this is not good. This is not good for the country. We have more than 900, I said 900 cultivar that are conserved in a germplasm in Biskra, and we don't know anything on them. So there were work doing morphological description, but we don't know this is the composition of those dates, what are the gene of resistance to drought, what are the gene of resistance to pathogens. So no study was done. So I took 3 PhD students from Biskra, from the region, and I gave to each student, now I have 2 who finished it, the 3rd one is coming. I gave them work to study on genetic diversity. So we have characterized morphologically those date palms, and we have used molecular markers like microsatellites to study and to find the differences between those cultivars. And the main goal was to identify the resistant gene to a pathogen which is Fusarium albidinis, which is a wilt for date palm, and this variety, this commercial variety, which is very very important to the region because it's exported, and it's have an economic importance, it's sensible to this pathogen. So if this pathogen come to this region, we will have all the oasis gone because there is no treatment to this Fusarium until now. But the nature is good, as you know. There is another cultivar which have shown resistance to this pathogen, but unfortunately, you have not a good date. No. So we decided to do a breeding program, but before that, the agriculture in the city asked us to find the best pollinator to this cultivar. What does it mean? You know, for the palm date tree to do the production, you have to bring the pollen from other trees and to hang to the tree and to do pollination, manual pollination. And always they collect pollen from different cultivars. So you have a mix. You don't have one, you have a mix and you do pollination. And this has a little bit negative effect on the quality of the dates. So the needs of the local growers asked us to find the good, the right male pollinator for those cultivars. So this is what we have done, and we published really recently a paper. We have found a male pollinator, which is identical, similar to the female cultivar, to have a good production. The one thing that I have to mention is the date palm. When you sow a seed, you can't know if it's a male or a female before 5 years. You can't know it. But with those molecular markers we found, you can, when you have the first leaves, you can do DNA extraction, apply these molecular markers, and you know automatically before waiting 5 years, you can have the results and know if it's a male or female tree, and if it is similar to this Deglet-Nord cultivar. And this is a very important finding for the growers because date palm regenerate vegetatively, but what this is not huge and it is not sufficient to pollinate all the oases that are in Biskra city, in the region. So we need more male, we need to produce more male for the pollination. And those molecular markers will help the growers to identify two things. That is a male tree, and it is similar to the Deglet-Nord cultivar, which is the cultivar they are, which is the most important cultivar for them.
Excellent. Beautiful story.
That's what I've done, but we have a lot of things to do. We can spend life doing research, and as you know, we will not finish. Huh?
But it's the date is a very important one, especially for me. So I'm glad you're doing it. Dr. Benbouza, you know, at the very beginning of the show, you know, you mentioned your family, your parents as being very important in encouraging you to start off on this path, and amazing what you've accomplished. Take a little time, if you would, any other people, professors, people in government, other people that you might have met that you might want to mention, shout out to at this point, that have been very instrumental in your career to date, please.
Yes, yeah, thank you to ask me to do this, because we have to thank people that helped you, that assisted you, supported you during your cycle of your life, in different steps of your life. So I have my parents. I have to acknowledge also that my teachers here in Algeria encouraged me to go and to have this, to do my PhD and to have these awards from the Belgian government. It's like a scholarship to be able to do my PhD studies. I have to thank also my professor, Guy Merger, which is professor at Belgium Agro BioTech Gembloux, which is the university where I have done my studies. He supported me a lot. So I am thankful to him for all what for all the achievements I have done until now. So he was not an easy supervisor. So I will say something funny maybe about him. So we were, you know, someone who came from Algeria, from a city inside the country, and I have never been outside. So Belgium was the first country when I was there. So we was competing who came to lab first. So usually he comes at 7. I didn't knew that. So he came at 7 a.m. And each time I came, I found him. I said, okay, I will go at 6 a.m. So the first week I didn't succeed, but second week I succeeded to come before my supervisor. And when he came, he said, okay, you come early in the morning. That means that you will doing good things during your PhD studies. So, and he was hard, but he was very supportive. But I had to work hard because my specialty wasn't genetics. So I have to study hard for 4 years on genetics, on biotech, and to learn other labs techniques to be able to have the skills and the knowledge that was needed to achieve what I have done. Then I have the chance to meet Jody Scheffler, Dr. Jody Scheffler. I am also from State Department. Okay. We have met in South Africa during a workshop there, and we had the same interest, but we were using 2 different means to achieve the same goal. She was working on the glandless gossipol breeding to feed catfish in US. And we were working in Belgium on using 3 species hybrids to have this glandless gossipol. What is mean the glandless gossipol? That means that seeds of cotton don't contain this toxic compound, which is called gossipol, which is a terpenoid and polyphenol that is toxic to human and animals. So in Belgium, we were using genetics and selection, plant breeding with wild species to achieve this goal. And Jody was using another means to do it. And this is why I went to the US for a postdoc at Stoneville, and I am thankful. She has also, with her team, supported me, and we have done a great work there. So those 2 people, I had to mention them. In Algeria, yes, I had support of the Ministry of Higher Education, the DG of the USDT, when I was the head of the CRBT. I had the support of US Embassy because they gave many, I have to thank the Ambassador Henry Ansher and Mrs. Polashik, because they helped many researchers and engineers to have training here in situ, and also to have board log fellowship to go and to do short training in US. So their support to train researcher and engineer in CRBT was very helpful. So that was also something that I have to mention. Yes, and all the, those people comes to mind. So those were very helpful to me. Many other people that I can also cite, but they supported me in each one in his way. I have to say that now, as I have all functions that are related to research, but it's not proper research in the lab, I teach a lot, and I teach those young people. Most of them at Batna University come from underprivileged area. They don't have a lot of means. Many of them are poor, but when you come and you see in their eyes, they have the will, mainly girls, to do something of their lives. And when I wake up in the morning, I said, I have to fight for those people. So my message and my message to those people that you have never, when you have a dream, you have to fight for it and don't give up, because things should change one day. And one day you will have opportunity, but you have to work hard and to believe in your dream. And it's not easy, but you have to be patient, perseverant, and trust other people that can help you and support you. And I will do, inshallah, something like that. I'm doing already, I have done, but I'm still doing this for the rest of my life, helping people who would like to do something for science, to advance science, because with science we can resolve many problems of health, food security. Without science we can do nothing. So we have to do research and believe that things will be better, hopefully, for the future.
Wow. Beautiful, beautiful message. Beautiful message, and I appreciate that. It's a fascinating journey. I'm wishing you the best with not just your journey, but in starting the journey with all these other students in the master's programs and PhD and undergraduate. Yeah. Really a beautiful story, and I thank you for sharing it with us. And for everybody that is going to be watching this episode or listening on the various podcasts, you've been listening to the amazing Dr. Halima Benbouza, professor at Batna University in the Institute of Veterinary Medicine and Agronomy, also member of the External Ethics Committee from the Biotechnology Research Center in Constantine, which was the inaugural founder of, member of the Executive Committee of the Pan-African Congress of Ethics and Bioethics, member of the Ministry of Higher Education and National Research. Dr. Benbouza, it was a pleasure having you. I want to thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to come talk to us. Thank you for sharing all of this knowledge. And as we say, thank you for creating a better tomorrow for everybody through the work you're doing and through the next generation that you're inspiring. It's truly a wonderful story.
Thank you for you, and thank you for having me. Thank you for encouraging women from other countries. We are not doing the same big things that they are done with our colleagues from abroad in Europe and in US, but each person are fighting for the condition that are in their countries. And each time we do a PAVE, this is for me a big success. Even it means nothing abroad, but here in Algeria it means a lot for me and for the other people. Okay, thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.